Yo, what up, YouTube? What up, what up, what up? Saint Nouan podcast. And this is field trip number 9. All right. The title of this entry is called BERRIED. All right. And, in these field trips, I just want to express our mysterious world that we live in. All right. Because when you really start to look around at the things that you take for granted or the things that are mundane, not only will it make you appreciate art much better, such as, motion pictures and music, because a lot of individuals recognize interesting things about the world and they express how they feel about these things. And when you were a kid and you walked out into the world, you used to look around in the world and everything used to be, impressive to you to some degree. You had a learning mind, but as you aged, you began to take things for granted and, life was moving so fast for you and you got distracted that you just, began, taking care of things that you had to take care of in your own personal life. And it puts you in a bubble. And when you get inside of this bubble, then you stop recognizing all of the things that is in the world around you that may seem mundane, that are actually quite extraordinary. So the title of this entry is called BERRIED. All right. Now I just want to go over cemeteries and what have you, the numbers on statistics and what have you of cemeteries and graveyards, grave sites, number of plots that we have in the United States, to show you that it doesn't take that much for you to come into some knowledge and have a bit of understanding of this mysterious place that we exist inside of. All right. So the NCA is the National Cemetery Association. All right, maintains 4.11 million graves with 689,646 additional developed grave sites available. 700 available grave sites for casketed remains, 164,466 in-ground grave sites for cremated remains, and 185,384 columbarium niches for cremated remains. All right, so 4.11 million graves are in use right now in the United States. So roughly, if you add all the figures up, there are approximately 5.5 million spots for the deceased, with 4.11 million in use, which would leave us with relatively 1.4 million available spots nationwide. That means there's 1.4 million available plots where someone can be buried in the entire United States that we have available. Okay? Today, there are 20,272 registered cemeteries in the United States. These don't account for hidden graveyards, pet cemeteries, or natural graves used by Native Americans. So if we divide 5.5 million graves by 20,272 registered cemeteries, we end up with 271 graves per graveyard, both used and available slots in total. A standard grave is 2.5 feet wide and 8 feet long. I could not find much information regarding space required between plots. So from Quora, I found 1 feet is all that is generally used in the United Kingdom. So if we then take, if we add 4 feet, basically we're just adding 2 feet to the width and 2 feet to the length. All right. So instead of 2.5 feet wide, you know, it's going to be 4.5 is the width. And we're going to multiply it by 10 feet in length instead of 8 feet. And that gives us 45 square feet per plot. Okay. So 271 graves times 45 square feet is 12,195 square feet necessary per cemetery, given a median average in the United States. Okay. So if out of 20,272 registered cemeteries, okay, with a median, okay, out of the 5.5 million, each of these cemeteries should have, okay, 271 graves. Okay, that's what I'm saying. And I'm saying to fit 271 graves, given the 1 foot spacing in between each plot, you know, the minimum amount of space, you would need to have at least 12,195 square feet necessary per cemetery, given a median average in the United States. Okay, so if you're with me so far, 12,195 square feet is equivalent to approximately 0.27 acres. Okay, so which means you could fit 275 graves with a 1 foot margin on all sides with approximately a quarter of an acre. Okay, that's all you need. It's a quarter of an acre. All right. So if you take rough numbers such as 271 graves and multiply them by 4, you end up with 1,086 graves per acre. All right. Now I looked up which was the biggest cemetery in the United States, and I got some conflicting results, but I'm just going to read what I have here. Okay. Rose Hills Memorial Park in Whittier has a long, rich history stretching back to 1914 and spans 1,400 acres, making it the largest cemetery in North America and the largest memorial park in the world. In a cemetery with 1,400, you can hypothetically fit 1.5 million graves. Okay? So, Rose Hills Memorial Park is 1,400 acres, okay, and you could fit 1.5 million graves. All right. The other conflicting reports with Rose Hills being the biggest cemetery is Calvary Cemetery, which is located in Queens, and another in St. Louis. Now, Calvary Cemetery in Queens reports that it has 3 million graves in it. You understand? Now, the largest I just went over, Rose Hills, is 1,400 acres and can fit 1.5 million graves. And it's the largest memorial park in the world. The conflicting information that I'm getting from Google is that, not Google directly, but a source on there, one of their main sites that they listed up, is that Calvary Cemetery in Queens reports that it has 3 million graves. Okay? So that would mean that it would have to be twice the size of Rose Hills Cemetery, right? But Calvary Cemetery in Queens is 365 acres, not 1,400 acres, which would only really be able to fit 396,390 graves in total. Okay? Not quite the same size as Rose Hills. Now, given the fact that I don't have knowledge as a Mason, nor do I understand the history of the cemetery, secret knowledge here would seem mysterious. This cemetery has a history. It has to. I mean, you can't be off by over 2 million plots, can you? You know what I'm saying? You can't mistake 396,390 graves with 3 million plots. Okay? in a grave site that is, let's just say, a quarter of the size of Rose Hills. That's 1,400 acres. It's 365 acres at Calvary Cemetery. So what I'm saying, I know sometimes Masons use numbers as, some type of relative figure. And I'm not saying there's portals, but maybe there's a portal, you know what I'm saying, or some type of doorway where if you go a certain route in the cemetery, you find some X graves that typically wouldn't be there. But it's just kind of interesting. All right. I'm not going to look into it because it's none of my business, but I'm just saying, is it not interesting at least? Calvary Cemetery in St. Louis is 470 acres, which is a bit larger and could fit 510,420 graves in total, with a margin of 1 feet of space around the border of the plot. All right. This was also listed as, the biggest cemeteries. And I guess this came from different sources, and these different sources, visited each of these grave places. And this was the information that they put on their individualized websites, which, renders conflicting information. All right. You can see here that the history is very important. It was a very important subject pertaining to lands and demographics, understanding your surroundings and area. So like I was stating, Rose Hills Memorial can fit 1.5 million plots in total at their cemetery, and the NCA says nationwide there's 4.11 million graves which are in use and being maintained, which would mean only 4.11 million people have been buried in total in the United States at registered cemeteries. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So Calvary Cemetery says it can fit 3 million, even though it only has 365 acres, which, defies the math, of how many graves they can actually fit there, which is going to be around 400,000 graves. Calvary Cemetery in St. Louis is 470 acres. All right. And can fit about 510,000, graves. Rose Hills Memorial, it's the largest memorial in the world, is 1,400 acres, and they're saying it can fit 1.5 million graves. All right. So getting back to this point, the NCA, says nationwide 4.11 million graves are in use and being maintained, which would mean if 4.11 million graves are in use, it would mean only 4.11 million people have been buried in total in the United States at registered cemeteries. You see, the problem is there are 340 million people approximately in the United States right now. There's 4.11 million people that have been buried where the graves are being maintained because they're being used. There's only 4.11 million people that are buried in the United States, according to the National Cemetery Association. There's 340 million people approximately in the United States right now, according to statistics. So that means people are living a lot longer. If 4 million people died right now, we would still have 336 million people in the United States. So you're seeing, what I'm showing you here is with 1.4 million graves being available, 340 million people in the United States right now, at registered grave sites. How much is a plot going to be? How much does a plot cost? What is happening to those bodies? You understand what I'm saying? These people are still walking around the earth. And you know, I gotta look at these numbers because, you know, I'm trying to get a girlfriend. I know it sounds morbid because I'm talking about cemeteries, but I'm just saying the numbers between dating apps, demographics, population statistics in my general area, there should be approximately 44 females in a 5-mile radius in a dateable age range. But I'm seeing right now some of these young ladies, man, I don't know, it leads me to wonder if there's only 4.11 million people buried right now. You understand what I'm saying? And we only got 1.4 million plus left available. Hey man, some of those bodies had to get back up and start walking. That's what I'm starting to think. But I don't want to push the envelope. All right, let's not jump the gun. Okay. I'll leave some space to breathe, okay, in a second for those sweating it, okay? I just want to ask, how long do these people live if there's 4.11 maintained plots and registered grave sites, if there's 340 million people in the United States right now? I'm an optimist, okay? We have healthcare, people are living longer, we got better medicine, better schools, education, for example. Or, you know what I'm saying? Maybe there are a lot of burials in unregistered grave sites. Okay? By the hundreds of millions, though, by hundreds of millions, how many unregistered grave sites are there? Let's think about how many can it possibly be for hundreds of millions? You understand what I'm saying? Take, for instance, there were 21,156 homicides last year. Is it possible that none of these bodies were found? Are people, you know, eating the deceased? Rituals and necrophilia? Are dead dudes getting laid more than me? Don't answer that. What are these interesting numbers that we have here? This is a very mysterious thing. You know, in 2021, there were 705,831 COVID-related deaths alone. Not heart attack, stroke, cancer, just COVID. 705,831. So basically, there are 4.11 maintained plots in the United States, and in 2021, nearly 1 million people died nationwide from COVID alone. That's just 2021. That's 1 year and one cause of death. Again, there are 1.4 available plots in the United States. Available for place. That means places for someone to be buried. There are 1.4 million places, and this is rounded up a little bit, where people can be hypothetically buried in the United States. And in 1 year, in 2021, okay, nearly 1 million people died from COVID-related deaths. So, you know, that 1.5 million with 340 million people being in the United States right now, you know, hey man, like, those plots has got to cost, like, that's got to be some black market stuff. They got to be costing millions of dollars for someone to get buried. Maybe not millions, but it's got to be way up there. You understand what I'm saying? Like, are any of these 340 million people going to die? Are they ever going to need a plot? Is everybody going to get cremated? That would mean out of 340 million people in the United States, in duration of time, because we know that cemeteries, we never see them expand. Okay? Unless they start making some other ones somewhere. Okay? That would mean 339, okay? You could say 338 1.5 million people will all have to get cremated after that 1.4 million plots are used. Now, after 100 years, it is rumored that they'll switch out like a where somebody is buried. You know what I'm saying? You know, people pay rent for it, and they can pay rent for that plot for up to 100 years for the body to be there. You understand what I'm saying? But I mean, let's be honest. I mean, a lot of times when I pass a cemetery, I don't see them taking any. They would have to be taking bodies out on a regular basis by a date basis. Do you see any large construction machines at cemeteries and with only 1 inch or 1 foot border? Okay, you know, how many people? It'd be a lot of people digging. That they would need to get people out of them spaces so that they could put more bodies in. So you know this is very interesting. This is just cemeteries. I'm not going out. I'm not going into any type of fringe conspiracy theory situation. This is just basic stuff that's right in front of us in the world around us. Okay. So what I'm saying is this: we have a total of 1.4 million plots available. Okay, out of 5.5 million total plots in the United States, and last year, in 2022, approximately 3,273,705 deaths occurred in the United States. You have 1.4 million plots available. Okay? But last year we lost let's just say 3.3 million people. So if we lose approximately 3 million people this year, okay, half of those people are not going to have a place to be buried. You see what I'm saying? If they want to be buried, everybody's going to have to get cremated. So basically, we only have 1.4 million plots available. All right? All these people, you know what I'm saying? All these people going to be cremated? Is the bodies getting up and walking? Are they becoming reanimated? Do we have a zombie situation going on? You know, people can't drive and they can barely walk too good anymore. You know, are people waking from the dead? All right. So this is something that I found interesting, and this is field trip. This is field trip number 9. Okay, and the title of this entry is called "Buried." I'm out. Peace.
Thank you.